seeing that, women can evolve and do more than just one thing meant that when I was searching for things, possibly searching for love like all people are, but I think sort of searching for where am I supposed to be at that particular moment.
Yes.
And what is going to inspire me, and is this where I'm supposed to be?
That's Alys Hale, a writer, musician in Sad Girls Sex Club and the music editor of Russh. You also founded Petit Crème, a production and creative consultancy. In this episode, we're speaking about love and music and how they both guide our career. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. I love your work. I found your Instagram and I was like, this is a cool girl.
That's very kind. I have to confess, I was saying to my partner this morning, I was a little bit nervous to be interviewed. As the interviewer, you kind of, as I'm sure you're aware, you kind of get to uphold a little bit of mystique, but I'm sure we'll be demolishing some fourth walls.
Absolutely, it's what I'm here for. I love to kick down the doors. At the beginning of every episode, I ask the same question to my guests. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I think I wanted to be a fairy or a witch. And in some senses of the word that has come true. I am still delusional and slightly maniacal, I suppose. I always wanted to do music and writing. I always wrote poetry from a very young age, which I do realise how pretentious that makes me sound, but I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the UK, and my mum would give me Tennyson poetry books, and my father was so keen that my sister and I learnt to play music. So I think, I always wanted to be a poet and a rock star. And
you totally are. That's exactly what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that it takes your 30s to get there, because I sort of took a big, circumvented that with modelling and kind of more feminist-based journalism for a while, and various things got put on hold. But I'm glad that you feel I've met the conclusion. I feel like I'm still writing the final chapters to actually there.
That's exciting though. So you mentioned you're from the UK and you studied at Oxford, right?
Yes, I did. I grew up, originally I grew up in a caravan whilst my parents built a house outside in East Anglia, not too far from Cambridge. Then we moved into Cambridge when I was about 12. I went to school there. And then obviously when it came to university, I didn't want to run the risk of my parents seeing me tipsy on a bicycle. So I chose to apply for Oxford, and I was so fortuitous that I was granted the opportunity to study there.
What did you study?
I studied English Literature and Language at Exeter College under my ultimate hero, probably still, Jerry Johnson. She's recently retired, but, she was just this fantastic lesbian with a bowl cut who'd occasionally hang out with Patti Smith and be caught smoking in the quad and wanted to demolish the chapel. But was also, as well as being unbelievably fucking badass, just beyond intelligent and kind, and someone that I, definitely pushed me in the right direction when I was thinking about not going any further forward.
I'd love to talk more about the people that have kind of defined your career a little later on.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Can you take me back to like that age when you were at university? What were you seeing your future as? What did you think it was going to become?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard question. What did I think I was going to do? I mean, I have quite an unusual sort of idea of what the future will be like, because I started working so young. I was scouted by Storm when I was 13 years old, and very quickly was signed by them and was sort of body doubling for Kate Moss, but didn't.
That's insane. Hold on. Let's hold on that.
Well, it was the same agency as her at the time, and I wasn't one of the tallest models because I was only 14, 15, and Kate's petite, and we both had cheekbones and lips, so that happened.
That's epic.
I was so naive. I remember my mum turned down, I got booked for a shoot with Jürgen Teller, and we didn't know who Jürgen Teller was, so we turned down the shoot until later in the career, because we were just just like normal people from Cambridge. I've been scouted as a music festival, seeing the distillers of all the cool punk bands.
Of course,
that you can see
at a music festival as well.
So I mean, I started working so young that I guess I always thought that I would still be modelling at the point when I would hit. When I was at Oxford, I was doing quite well. I was balancing, writing my very questionable essays on Victorian literature and, you know, going off to Athens to shoot Vogue and come back again on the Oxford Tube from London. So I think at that point, I still very much thought that I could exclusively do creative work. I think it's probably only in the past 7 years that I've realized that I need to sub that in with assisting other people's creative work as well, and doing more things in sort of creative direction, art department, styling, production. Those things sort of seemed a natural evolution of what they seemed like a natural evolution to me, because that's what I'd grown up around.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like, well, I know how a set works. I've been on them for 20 years. So maybe if the bookings are slow for my face, I can use my brain.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
What's it like kind of dropping the ego and allowing other people to step into the creative role that you were doing?
It's not something that you really consider, I think, when you wear so many hats. And I also just think it's the greatest misconception that models even have an ego. We're every day is rejection.
Yeah.
Particularly the era of the industry I was in, where, you know, we were pre-body positivity and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, it was white and emaciated or else, pretty much. I don't really think it's about having, like, you know, eating your pride and letting someone else come through. It's more just like, okay, today I'm using this skill, and the only thing you sort of miss is using those other skills, because obviously modeling, modeling is something that's very bodily and creative, whereas production can be very cerebral and often pedantically meticulous with a run sheet. It's just sort of like traversing your skill set.
Yeah. I'm skipping ahead because you mentioned how modelling is very bodily.
Yeah.
You once wrote for Rush, "When language fails, there is movement and art." And I loved this line.
Oh my gosh, which piece was that from?
God.
I mean, I still stand by it, but yes.
One more time with feeling, revisiting art, life, and other things.
Oh, the Brett Whiteley film, yes. Yeah, okay. So
I thought that was beautiful. And I wanted to know what does language, when it fails, what does that look like to you?
Ooh, oh gosh, what an interesting question. I mean, language can quite often fail us if we don't use it carefully, because I think maybe this is a culturally English thing, but we spend a lot of our time being polite and not wanting to hurt the feelings of others. So
Absolutely.
Perhaps we hold back and don't say what we really mean. I think particularly now I find that with some young writers that their language is quite conservative versus, you know, reading even stuff from the 30s and the 40s where it was maybe more floral or more carnal. I mean, I think when language fails, naturally you have to resort to other modes of communication. And I think that's probably what I was referencing there, where sometimes like a feeling of pain or beauty can be so extreme that it's a sound, it's a melody, it's a movement. It's not, wow, that's beautiful. It's sort of like almost a slightly more artistic response to when you see like a really, really, really cute animal. And you're like, whatever the artistic translation of that is, maybe that's what, you know, dance and movement and melody is.
Well, music's obviously such a tie within your life. I feel like all these stages have really encapsulated by a sound. Like, you were at a music festival when you got scouted. You have like talked so much about music in your career, obviously, as a music journalist. I asked you to send through some songs tied with pivotal moments in your life, breakups, moving countries, transitions. And a lot of the songs, when I was looking through, they were just so perfect to me. They were about motels and hospitals and people leaving and people waiting. Can you tell me more about the selection and I guess the stories behind them?
Well, I think what you asked me for was key moments in my life, and those key moments usually, as you're right, they sort of are centered around transition. I've traveled so much in my life. You know, I live on the other side of the planet to most of my family. And I think, I don't know if this is perhaps just the way that, you know, I would write the story of my life, but I think quite often who you're in love with is a good sort of chapter that influences other decisions. So I think what the songs that I sent you were predominantly to do with those sort of yearnings and losses, and hopefully not potential losses and things like that.
Yeah.
About those selection in particular, I think that they are just so timeless in their structure and their universal concepts that it's not specific to, you know, me getting cheated on by a boyfriend or having to break up with someone or whatever. They're just perfect moments that are so easily translatable for anyone that listens to them, and that's why they sort of have this longevity.
Do you think sorry, all my questions, I keep like going up and down with the questions.
Oh, that's so fine. It will give me time to actually think, because I feel like I should have prepared more. I should have done more homework.
I usually like bombard people with the like, I'm like, welcome, and then I'm just like, tell me your deepest, darkest thoughts.
Well, if you put some whiskey in the tea, then maybe.
I should have brought it. It's getting late. Talking about like movement and transcendence, traveling, moving, what do you think you're searching for during those periods?
Oh, that I think when you're young and you're traveling, I think you're both searching for acceptance and a sense of self, which is really hard because you don't know who you are yet, but you know who you might want to be. So it doesn't necessarily allow you to be automatically accepted into the group where you think you belong.
Yeah.
I think one of the amazing things my mother taught me from a very young age was that you don't have to just be one thing in life. So I don't think I've ever been searching for a conclusion per se. You know, I've never been searching for like, this is my dream job and I'm going to climb this way all to the top. You know, she was a veterinary radiographer, a teacher, a nurse, so many things. And I think growing up that way and seeing that, you know, women can evolve and do more than just one thing meant that when I was searching for things, I mean, possibly searching for love like all people are, but I think sort of searching for where am I supposed to be at that particular moment?
Yes.
And what is going to inspire me, and is this where I'm supposed to be?
I relate to that so much. Like I feel like I'm always like, oh, you move along too fast and you try this and you try this and you try this. But I love trying all these different things, and I love having like this kind of slashy
well, I suppose it's
career.
sort of like process of elimination. Try and figure out what you like and what you don't and what works. And so much about life is timing and connections. And, you know, you could be the most talented poet in the world, but if your transcript doesn't land on the right person's desk, then it still doesn't devalue your art. You know, it just means that it'll be a secret that'll be discovered after you're dead, and then your family will profit from all of that.
Exactly. God, isn't it always the way? I was reading this Substack article by Katerina Eleftheriou called "You Don't Want Them, You Just Want to Practice Devotion," and it was so beautiful. It explores the idea of how creative people sometimes put their creative energy onto people that they love or people that they assume they love, because that desire kind of almost replaces the creativity within you.
So was it sort of like, you know, you can be creative by proxy by pouring the love into that person, you support their art, and thus you can kind of deviate and shy away from actually producing your own?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had so many musician partners that I've definitely done that too. Sure. It's very easily done. I think everyone has, I say everyone, I think I certainly had the fantasy when I was younger that you could be that sort of co-writing, songwriting couple.
Stevie Nicks,
Yeah, but it, you know, the best Fleetwood Mac album is a divorce record, right? So more for me for not realising that slightly sooner. It's very easy to do, and it is something that I still struggle with. My partner is such a talented musician, and, you know, I have an EP ready to go this year, but it's taken me about 3 years since sort of stepping out of the limelight and moving into production and writing predominantly to have the confidence to sort of like open the curtains again and be like, oh, hi, I do still have a face and I do still have a voice. And I think also as you get older, you lose that sort of hell for leather punk attitude that I think I thought I had, which I probably never had. But
what's it like kind of rekindling that old flame with yourself?
Well, it's been very gently massaged by the people in my life that care about me. Fundamentally, my best friend Ollie, who plays bass and recorded the EP with me, she's just been sort of such a supporting role in my life. And the only reason I got back into music was because it was a way of us hanging out. I was quite sort of distraught with how the last project ended because it involved an unfortunate breakup, etc. So I sort of didn't really want to open that, having done the necessary, write some very painful breakup songs. Sort of put the lid on Pandora's box. And then I started doing it for fun. And then my partner sort of said, well, actually, this is pretty good. We could do something with this. And then we recorded it. And then I got cold feet again. And then I did one single and then got cold feet again. And then as of last week, he very kindly designed the cover art for me. So now I have to do it.
Now you have to.
Now I have to, which is not for lack of wanting, but just, I think... maybe this is a British thing as well, but you can't let other people down because now they've done the cover and someone's provided the photo image. Now it has to happen, whether you want it or not, even though you do, you know.
Well, you always do. The cold feet thing is interesting because I feel like that is so intrinsic to creating, like creating from your soul, like art, like painting, music, personal writing, compared to maybe music journalism when you're writing for someone else or your company that you made, would you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, music journalism is basically an excuse for me to be a fangirl. And because I'm very fortuitous, my EIC, it gives me great freedom as to who I can interview. It's basically an opportunity to talk to artists that I want to kind of find out how they do it.
Yeah.
Writing about someone else is so easy. I'm sure you'll know this too from your own life. Like if you write a bio for someone else, that's so much easier than writing about yourself. Like even writing a CV, or like, oh God, I feel like is someone going to think I'm a bastard because I put Oxford on my CV? And that's true. And they probably do, and rightly so. But yeah, music journalism and, you know, Le Petit Crème. I am very invested personally in both of those, and on the as well as being a fangirl for music. On the production side, you know, I so enjoy ideating the creative direction. I really care about my clients and the overall aesthetic and fundamentally like the guest's experience as well. So it is personal, but because I'm partnered with so many other people, because there's another artist when I'm writing, because there's, you know, other suppliers, it's not just you, you know. That's not to say it dilutes a vision or it dilutes any feelings, or I would change the way I write in particular, more that there's a shared culpability in a way.
I guess that leans back on like the cover art. Like it is just you're all kind of leaning on each other.
Yeah, more kind of like community centric, like it's more collaborative that way.
Do you feel like that allows you to ignore what you're scared of more?
With production, certainly I think you're just too busy to be scared, honestly. There are so many stakeholders, so many suppliers, so many things to be done, and often, particularly in the sort of spheres which I work, which is sort of, you know, fashion and luxury, it's so rapid that you can be scared, you know, after you've had your glass of wine just before you go to sleep. But once you're there, you know, you have to be graceful and charming, and your house might be on fire, but no one needs to know that. It's a different sort of, a different kind of fear. I mean, there's always fear of failure, I think, for most people in everything that they do, but there is a greater support network for those sort of production jobs. And I think in terms of, I don't really fear failing as a music journalist. It's just some artists don't like to talk. They just like to let their music talk for them, and then it becomes your job to sort of explain why it's worth listening to. But I
think that's quite beautiful. It's almost like the failure of language turning into...
Exactly. To go back to your point, it just takes you back to the art rather than the commentary. You know, that's what they always say, bad artists become critics. So if you're a critic and an artist, are you sort of like medium?
You're fighting against yourself in a way.
Internal dialogue.
Internal constant.
Ego versus id all over again.
Oh God, it's my life. We mentioned that you want to get into modelling. Or like get back into modelling.
Well, that's always a desire when Fashion Week comes around again. I think when you start at 13 and go to 33, it's a very addictive thing. And I think I miss the camaraderie that you have backstage sometimes, particularly this time of year when, you know, the whole world is in the awful state that it's in, but for, you know, 15 minutes backstage, all that matters is getting a shoe that's the wrong size onto your foot and not poking the mascara in your eye and making sure your boob doesn't fall out. Yeah. And it's just like kind of adrenaline.
Invigorating. Yeah.
I mean, to our point before we were recording, I do love seeing that there is a lot more age diversity. And yeah, it's more links back to that, like what we were discussing earlier, the idea of, you know, using that skill and using that skill.
Do you feel like you're, I guess, finding that skill within other things and leaning on that more?
I don't think, having done it for so long, that you really lose it. I mean, I certainly move in a certain way when I play live, and I'm looking forward to moving a bit more, hopefully in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
My bassist is still breastfeeding, so once we can take her beautiful baby away for a 25-minute set, I'm sure we'll be moving together. Yeah, I don't think it's about relinquishing or giving up that skill. It just, others become more dominant in the same way. You know, everyone's priorities in life change as they go through certain places and certain ages and certain relationships. You know, like you know, if I'm not doing that sort of work anymore, you know, I'll be doing a lot more work that might even just be cooking for the family on the weekends or things like that. You know, they're all equally important. They're just different, and you kind of, and they all take turns to excel and to wax and to wane and to be pivotal and to be utterly superfluous at the same time.
That's so beautifully said, because I think we do all have to remember how we don't get everything at once, and we do have to be able to...
Well, if we did, we wouldn't appreciate anything.
Exactly.
I think, you know, we are so lucky to be, you know, even creative adjacent, you know, like, you know, to go back to that Substack that you're reading, even to just be close to someone who is creative and to being able to support them with the hope that they will be able to do the same for you later. And it's an equal balance, you know. It's just as beautiful to give as to receive. And I think that that's kind of how I like to think about a lot of things in my life, particularly with all of those skills. You know, some of the skills are about giving and some of the skills are about receiving and collaboration as well as isolation. They're all just parts of a very complex human puzzle in a very increasingly complex industry, I think.
Yeah. What do you see the industry of music and music journalism looking like?
Oh, I wish I could be more positive about that.
No one's ever positive on this podcast.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I'm going to try and be a little ray of light. No Madonna reference implied there. I think there will always be great art and there will always be great artists and incredible performers. I do worry that they won't get the limelight that they deserve. Yeah. Technology has been amazing, because if you think about, you know, garage bands in the 60s, you know, having a guitar was such a luxury, and now like people can like have a whole recording studio in their bedroom, which is obviously fundamentally democratic, but it does mean that, like, you know, if you've got more connections and money, you might have an unfair advantage, perhaps.
Always the case, no?
And, you know, I find it increasingly complicated the way stuff is marketed through social media, and I don't want to go on the geese science thing. Someone else can write that piece. But I guess I get teased for being quite a kind of classicist, in the sense that I just want to see good things be
Yeah.
praised and done well. I think there is space for everyone. But I do think a lot more support needs to go back towards the artists themselves rather than the publishers, the streaming services, even, young struggling artists who are playing small club rooms having to pay $15,000 for a PR campaign just to get on New Indie Friday for Spotify. That just seems so unfair. If they're genuinely an amazing indie artist, can we just champion that? And that's kind of something that I've said to anyone who's asked me really about music journalism, because there are some acts I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And privately, in the safety of my own home, I will take down in quite an amusing way, depending on how many glasses of wine I've had. But
I want to drink with you.
Well, it's interesting. But I think that what I love so dearly about Russh and why I'm so privileged to write for that publication is that it is a champion of the creative mind, and I only ever want to write positive things about artists that deserve to be heard. I don't want to ever be writing for Pitchfork and giving a 2.5-star review.
No.
Who cares? And it's always of a band that everyone's already heard of anyway. I want to take a tiny post-punk band from Melbourne or some kids from Newcastle or somewhere, maybe even somewhere from Cambridge. When I was playing in a band at 15, I think there are so many artists that get overlooked that shouldn't be, and it's the sort of responsibility of the people that do work for those independent publications or that do have the creative freedom to sort of just say, okay, we know Charlie XX is making quote unquote rock music, but that's up to, Vogue and the Daily Mail and whoever else want to write about that. I would much rather look at this individual strange person that could actually have something to say that's slightly more unique about culture, not to devalue any of those big pop artists. They have their place, and I know that there's layers of satire and commentary that I'm sure someone will tell me I'm missing, and that can can purely just be a tasting in that case. But I think it's responsibility of those that love the art to patron it, and even if we might not be financially flush enough to do so, at least to sort of promote them in the sort of any way we can.
Well, that's what I love about your work, is you can totally see that is your mentality behind it. The music is accompanying you, the way you're writing, it's you're holding it with you and you're bringing it along with the story. It's not you kind of throwing a dart at the board and seeing what sticks.
Well, I think I just, as I said, with my music journalism, it's just what I want to know. It's quite selfish, actually. I want to know what they do when they get creative writer's block. I want to know who they've been reading when they want some lyrical inspiration. I want to know, who was producing and why they chose these sounds, because that's what I personally find very interesting, and I think that leads into the greatest storytelling of people's artistry. Those that no artist is divorced of their context, so I always want to know their context.
Absolutely.
I always want to know the world in which they inhabit.
I mean, the best work is built on curiosity.
Absolutely.
You could not, any creative work, this whole podcast is me being hey, I actually want your job, so what can I do to do it?
Well, look, I'm hiring. The rates are low, but the boss is pretty nice.
I'll take it. We're not making anything on this podcast. I feel that is a beautiful way to sum it up. I will email you later. But at the end of every episode, I ask the same question. I feel this is kind of built for you, this question.
Okay.
What track best represents this moment in your career?
Ooh. No, this is an impossible question to ask me because I've got about 500. Where am I at the moment? I feel I guess there are things on the horizon. So I feel it's a sort of an intro, perhaps. Where am I at the moment? Because I've been going through all my records for this event next week. I'm going to say, gonna say Smog, Hit the Ground Running.
Ooh, why's that?
It's about not really knowing where you're going, but knowing that you'll hit the ground running, having left certain places. I mean, Bill Callahan has one of the greatest singing voices that really gets me in the gut. And it's one of those songs that gives me sort of like an emotive, romantic, happy cry occasionally. It's not like a, pour me a gin, he's left me sob. It's like, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'll hit the ground running. I don't know.
It's hopeful.
It's hopeful, but yeah, you'll have to listen to it. I'm probably doing a disservice in my articulation of why it's great. It just also has a really great sort of, it chugs along. And I feel like a lot of my life is just, you got to keep on trucking, you know, just keep on turning up and smiling. It's like, my old manager said, so this is a nice secondhand quote because I can't remember the quote exactly, but he was explaining to me about songwriting. It was just like, you know, when ABBA got stuck, they used to wait outside the cave, because if you wait outside the cave, you get the chance to slay the dragon. So I guess it's just turning up outside the cave and waiting for the chance to slay the dragon. And I guess being in any creative industry, full stop, is like that. It's just sort of waiting for the opportunity and turning up and being ready, not necessarily to behead something, but to seize an opportunity.
Yeah. I love that. That is a brilliant ending. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for asking me. I feel very honoured and humbled.
I feel honoured that you sat here, so thank you.
My pleasure.